Good evening, beautiful e-friends. So there's been a few changes. The big one is I've got a grown-up Eve content creator type mic, which hopefully will improve the way I sound. Not sure that that's going to work, but hopefully it will fix my poppy plosives and sissy sibilants. But in-game, the key changes that we have are we have completed all of the learning missions. So I have moved our production to a couple of different stations. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to change your home station. So here I am in Baromab. I've moved up from level 1 mining mission agents to level 2 mining mission. And the thinking here is by running level 2 mining missions means I get a little bit of extra loyalty points and slightly more ISK, but not enough to be significant. But the big thing that it helps us with is running the daily goals. So I was able to get a 50 loyalty points. Oh, hello. And I was able to mine some ore. I did some jumps as well. So I got a nice little payout for that. So I'm going to move my home base to here. You can do that by right-clicking on the name of the station, top left, and clicking Set Home Base. So now when my character is, I'm doing air quotes, killed, I will pop back into existence in this station. Down in the bottom right-hand corner here, you can see that I have a station called imaginatively reprocessing 0.5% tax. I click on that and look at info. So my reprocessing is now cheaper. In the same way as different ships have different bonuses, different player-owned stations have different bonuses. So this one, for example, is an Athanor station, which is a refinery, which gives me a little bit of a payoff. So my ore that I mine now gives me extra minerals. I've also set up a station in Romy, which gives me a bonus for manufacturing. So I've moved all of my blueprints there. All of my they've all moved there as well. So now when I make items or ships, I get a bonus to production time, production efficiency. All of this adds to more profit, and this is a profit-based challenge, which is what it's all. So today I'm going to run a couple of mining missions. I'm going to do a little bit of mining. I'm going to go out to the belt and mine some ore. Also, going to have a little look at Project Discovery, which we tried to do the other day, but Eve was having a funny 5 minutes. So let us launch, and let me check that we've got everything. Yep, we drones. 5 drones. I seem to have lost a couple of drones, but not. Okay, so let's go out to the belt and some rocks. If my voice sounds a little emotional, it's because I've just run through my second viewing of Star Trek Starfleet Academy episode 5, which was magnificent. If anybody has an issue with a Klingon not wearing trousers, he is blatantly wearing a kilt. Kilt has a flat panel at the front and pleats around the back. If you want to have a really bad day, go to Scotland and call a kilt a skirt. You will have quite a bad time. So that's my little bit of real world action. I've also had a couple of glasses of wine, so I'm kind of at one with the universe right now. Okay, so we have some rocks. I'm gonna just go for a little bit of everything. Some drone. There's no anomalous belts in the system at the moment, but that's fine. Just gonna set the ship up with. Let's close the probe scanner. Local is reasonably full. I don't recognize any of those. No, but none of those people. Okay, which is nice. So I'm gonna type. I'm gonna go for the tier 3 version of each one. So I've got one Pyro Rock, one Scordite, and one Veldspar. It's the 3rd grade version, gives you a little bit of bonus. Grade gives you 30%. Oh, excuse me, 10% higher mineral yield. This is just pure greed. It's all nice. So that's all going. I've got some drones in the air. So now we're going to have a little chat about Project Discovery. Now, Project Discovery it's almost free ISK. There's a little bit of trial and error while you're getting started. It's fantastic when you're doing a bit of mining, or if you are just stuck in a station and put a movie on in the background or whatever. You know? So Project Discovery gets you a nice little bit of a bonus here and there. The idea is that you have to identify clusters. So if you look here, you can see that there is a bright patch in the middle here, and there are a few little clusters sort of dotted around. Now this line, imagine that this is 2 axes, and each one of these peaks corresponds to density of the clusters. So right here there's a peak here and there's a peak here, so that is definitely one cluster middle there. So I'm just going to left click and draw a shape around those, and I'm going to draw a shape around those because, and it's tricky to see, but can you see that there's a little wobble there which suggests that there's a cluster here as well. So this line here, there's a couple of peaks there. You can do a few of these each day, and it corresponds to about 4 or 5 million ISK as a bonus, so not ridiculous. You can earn that more quickly. Oh, hello, didn't like that one. Oh, I missed a little cluster there. Oh yeah, can you see that there's a little bump axis there? You can earn a more ISK doing a couple of different activities, but the key thing with this is it's almost, what's the word? You can do it anywhere. Ubiquitous, maybe? So you can, if you feel that you're in a position where nobody can pop your ship, you can just make some free ISK. So this is the closest thing in EVE to risk-free earning. It's kind of... when this first came out, Project Discovery, it was talked about in terms of identifying anomalous cells in microscope slides. So cystology, I think is probably the word, I don't know. In lockdown, it became more about infection clusters. And when you look at something like this, there seems to be a definite kind of margin along the edge here, whether that's a coastline or a cell boundary or something. It's kind of cool. If you give me a run up and an excuse, I will talk all day about some fairly niche, dull topic, which is all kind of fun. Gosh, I hope this might be sounding good. Oh, it didn't like. Oh, I did the same thing again. I missed the same little weird cluster. Right. I hope you're all shouting in the comment sections. There's a weird cluster there. So the mining lasers have been running for a minute or two. They've earned pretty much 200,000 ISK. With mining, there's a couple of ways of making money by mining. You can get a big lump of ore and just sell it, which is kind of good. But I find it more profitable to take the ore and refine it and make it into things. Typically, if your refining skills and the refining bonuses in the station that you're in are good, you kind of halve the volume of. So when you refine your ore into minerals, you halve the volume and slightly increase the value. And then when you take the minerals and make them into products, you kind of slightly increase the value, but you halve the volume. So get your head around this a little bit. You can turn a big lump of rocks into a smaller lump of items which are easier to transport. So I watched a video the other day. Aceface is another really, really good content creator. He's got back into the game after an Eve break, and he was just mining scordite and pressing it in a station and hauling it to market and selling it, which is absolutely fine. You can make some really decent income and relatively low risk, because there's nothing in Eve which is low risk, obviously. Personally, I would have made it into some items, hence my early on obsession with buying blueprints. Let's just have a glance at what we've got being at the moment. So I've got a salvage tackle blueprint that I've just made into it. I've turned some salvage into an item. I've got a couple of medium shield extenders and a couple of acolytes going through. I've got a day left on the mining survey chipset blueprint, which I'm researching up to 10. I think that was probably a mistake, because I don't think that's going to have gone up enough. So as we've discussed from time to time, like while you're doing one thing in Eve, you need to be making money passively or semi-passively in the background as well. And that's what the big earners do. Not in any way, shape or form suggesting that I'm one of the big earners. I would say that I was, if Eve says, oh hello, 100%, nice. If Eve society was compared to real life, I would be upper middle class. So not the top earners, but comfortable, you know. There are people that are earning hundreds of billions a day, which I think maybe in America is trillions, but I don't. Oh, it's telling me that it was just one. Hang on, let me just look. There's definitely a little bump there. I strongly disagree with that. But yeah, so the ultimate plan of this, the ultimate goal with this is, oh, come on. Oh, that was the smallest little bump there. Gosh, I suck. It's telling me my rating has dropped to 98.1%. One of the gifts that Project Discovery gives you is a blueprint which you can use to make a profitable little ship. Now, gonna have to have a little think about that one, because I think you can turn a blueprint copy of the ship whose name escapes me. I think it's Pacifier. Just double check that a second. I think you can take a couple of million Pacifier. I want to say round about a level 50 in Project Discovery, you get a Pacifier blueprint. If you look at the Pacifier blueprint, you take, let me do the sums. So 18 million, just over 18 million ISKs worth of components, and you can turn it into a ship worth 431 million. So almost $500 million. So if we were to get that blueprint, in theory, I could whip to Amar, buy a pile of components, which are all these things over here, with this blueprint, make it into this ship, and then haul it to market and sell it and make a stupid profit, which kind of strangely would defeat the object of the challenge, maybe. Let's have a look and see what the ship is selling for. Yeah, so 400 plus million ISK. Ooh, see, now I'm kind of tempted. Okay, that could be a way of cheekily finishing the challenge. Do we want to cheekily finish it? If you feel that I should just get the Pacifier blueprint and cheat my way to completing the challenge, then please drop me a comment. I think that feels a little bit wrong. Or shall we say, against the spirit of the challenge? Probably the best way to say it. Okay. There's a little bump. There's a little bump in the axis there. But two of the corners too close together, so I've just left clicked and moved one of them away. Do you know what? I had forgotten about the Pacifier ship. I feel that that's a little bit of a cheeky. So in theory, I could. Oh, gonna have to ponder that one. Please drop your suggestions in the comments. I have a couple of days of Project Discovery rewards to claim. So let's see. So I'm going to redeem those to my home station, which, as we just set the home station to Baramab 8 Moon 3. Yes. This is a tricky one. Looks like 1, but there's a little bit of a bump there, so I think that's 2. One of the great things with Eve, and there are many great things, is kind of nothing is final. Blow up ships. You can miss a digit on a sale order and accidentally cost yourself a couple of 100 million ISK. But it's not the end of the world, you know. Ooh, done it again. Look, the same exact one. I mess it up every time. Okay, so our hold is getting pool is about 2/3 full, and we've got about 500,000 ISK worth of rocks. Single rat pop up. And oh, we have talked as well about hauling some loot to Amar and selling it. And Amar is it's the second biggest trade hub in the game, I think. And oh, I've just popped. So that was Sears, and our range is 22 kilometers. 22 kilometers. Well, yeah, so Amar is the second biggest trade hub, which is great, but it also means that it's the second most likely place to have a station camper. Camping Ganker, rather. And I warped over to Amar earlier, and yeah, it was flashing red with lots of cheeky boys. I think I've got about 5 million ISK worth of products to haul to market. And the other thing that's affected my voice is the sheer volume of wine that's inside me. That's why I'm a little croaky. So apologies in advance. I was having a conversation in my IRL daytime job with a couple of colleagues about ASMR, and they suggested that my voice would work quite well for ASMR if I could stop doing all the ums and ahs. So if anybody at any point in the future is trying to get to sleep listening to me talking about space pixels, then congratulations, and I hope you have the best time ever, and I hope your goosebumps remain eternally goosebumped. Some decent ISK with it. Shall I just randomly salvage this? Should. It kind of feels rude not to, doesn't it? So, with other people's wrecks. So these 4 wrecks here are the overview. Now these are coloured in yellow, which means that they belong to someone else. Now, if I were to open cargo, I would immediately get a suspect status, which means anybody in system could, if they wanted to, just kill me. But there's no restriction on salvaging them. See, I've just managed to salvage 100,000 ISK worth of loot, and the armor plates are always useful because I use them on the salvage tackle blueprint. So as long as you don't open the other people's wrecks, you can still salvage them. So fellow capsuleers, if you ever kill rats, please, there's an option to abandon nearby wrecks. Yeah, because I haven't made any wrecks. You have an option to abandon nearby wrecks, which means that rather than being coloured yellow, they are coloured blue, which means they are available for everyone to loot them. And I do appreciate that this is my own obsessiveness, but I believe strongly in keeping space tidy and recycling, reuse, etc., etc. Yes, I am a snowflake left. Okay. So we almost have a full hull, and we've done a little bit of project discovery, which means we have some loot in our home station. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these rocks back to our refining base. Then I might do a couple of extra runs, in which case I will probably fast forward through the video out of due respect to my esteemed and respected viewers, such as you are. Please remember to like and subscribe as a token of thanks for me fast forwarding through the fairly repetitive aspects of the game. We will be back in due course. Actually, I might come... No, I'll see you in a while. Cheers. So I've just done a couple of mining runs and I filled up my hold a couple of times. I'm hoping that I am going to be able to get the video fast forwarding thing sorted, so hopefully you wouldn't have had to have watched that whole fairly dull process. So a lot of the regular Eve players are fairly disparaging towards the miners and the industrialists. In a strange kind of way, as an industrialist or a miner, you are the prey of the gankers, you know? So in a strange way, again, we make the ships and the modules that the gankers use to kind of kill us in a strange kind of way. Yeah, said that a couple of times. So yeah, it kind of gets all philosophical and weird. I'm gonna just so I've docked up in our refining base. I just wanted to give everyone a bit of an idea of the difference that being in a specialist mining station makes. It's just gonna clumsy clicking story. Just gonna find everything to that we can. Anyway, so I have selected 3 million ISKs worth of, or so estimated value, 3 million ISKs worth of ore, and I can turn that into 2.7 million ISKs worth of minerals, including a nice lump of Exelon. So I've done that. We have in our refining base just under 16 million ISK worth. We have in our manufacturing base, we have some ISKs worth there. And we have in our liquid ISK, in our wallet, just over 70 million in liquid ISK. So that's actually really, really good. Let's have a look and see what our net worth, 130 million ISK. So in percentage terms, I can barely work that out, but I think we're about an eighth of the way to our estimated total. So all being well, tomorrow we will try a trip to market, which could be fun. Otherwise, please everyone like and subscribe, do all the usual YouTube things, and I will see you all soon. Fly profitable, fly safe-ish, and have fun. Take it easy. Goodbye.